What is really happening inside IPOB? The Ejiofor battle is going to be explained in this video. Welcome back. Today's video is going to be different. Over the past few days, many people have been confused by the different headlines coming out of IPOB camp. One headline says Nnamdi Kanu had dismissed his former lawyer, Ifeanyi Ejiofor. Another headline says Ejiofor is still IPOB's lawyer. Then IPOB responds by saying Ejiofor remains dismissed. Ejiofor replies again, insisting that he still represents IPOB. Many people are asking, what exactly is going on? Is this simply a disagreement between a lawyer and his former client? Or is there something much bigger happening beside the scenes? Today, we are going to connect all these stories together so you can understand the full picture. Let's begin. For many years, Ifeanyi Ejiofor was one of the best-known lawyers defending Nnamdi Kanu. He may not be the first, but he is one of those, we've seen him in the scene. So whenever Kanu appeared in court, Ejiofor was usually there. After every court sitting, he spoke to journalists and explained what happened in court. Because of this, many Nigerians came to see him as one of the faces of Nnamdi Kanu's legal team. That is why many people were surprised when Nnamdi Kanu publicly announced that Ejiofor no longer represented him. At first glance, this looked like an ordinary disagreement between a client and his lawyer. But once you begin to examine the story carefully, you discover that it is much more than that. The first thing we need to understand is that there are two different issues. The first issue is Nnamdi Kanu's personal legal representation. The second issue is legal representation for IPOB as an organization, as a whole body. Those are not necessarily the same thing. They are not the same thing. Defending Nnamdi Kanu or defending IPOB. So from public statements made by both sides, it is clear that Ejiofor is no longer representing Nnamdi Kanu personally. Ejiofor himself says he stopped acting as Kanu's lawyer in December 2023. Nnamdi Kanu has now also publicly stated that Ejiofor no longer represents him. So whether one says Ejiofor stepped away first or whether one says Kanu later made it official, both sides now agree on one important thing. Ejiofor is no longer part of Nnamdi Kanu's personal legal team. But here is where the story begins. To understand what is happening today, we need to understand the leadership crisis inside IPOB. According to IPOB structure, the office of the leader is the highest. Below that is, after the leader, that's below that, you have the Directorate of State, commonly known as the DOS. So over the years, there had been different DOS leadership teams. There was the first DOS, there was a second DOS, then there was a third DOS. And while Nnamdi Kanu was still in custody, is still in custody in detention, disagreements developed between him and members of the third DOS. And those disagreements became more serious with time. You saw what is happening. So according to Kanu and those who support him, he eventually he sacked the third DOS and later announced what they described as fourth DOS to continue the organization's leadership under him. But those associated with the third DOS did not accept the decision, the sack. They continue to see themselves as legitimate leaders within IPOB. This background is very important because it explains why today's disagreement has become so confusing. Now, according to those who align with third DOS, Ifeanyi Ejiofor still works for IPOB. He's still working for them, the ones who agree with the third DOS. They are not saying he represents Nnamdi Kanu in his personal case. Instead, they are saying he continues to provide legal services for IPOB in other matters. They point to his work, involving detained IPOB members, applications for their release, and other legal matters affecting members of the organization. And that is why Ejiofor continues to insist he remains IPOB's lawyer. Not Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer this time, but IPOB's lawyer. Now let's look at the other side. Those who recognize the fourth DOS and those who support Nnamdi Kanu and his position, they reject that claim completely. Their argument is straightforward. They say the third DOS no longer has authority to act on behalf of IPOB. If the third DOS has no authority, then it cannot retain lawyers on behalf of the organization. So from the point of view, that particular point of view, they argue that Ejiofor cannot claim to represent IPOB because the people giving him instructions no longer have the authority to do so. Now you can understand why both sides keep making statements that seem to cancel each other out. Each side is working from a different understanding of who has legitimate authority inside IPOB. And this means the real disagreement is no longer simply about one lawyer. The disagreement is about leadership. It is about legitimacy. It's about authority. Who has the right to speak for IPOB? Who has the right to appoint lawyers? Who has the right to remove lawyers? Those are now the biggest questions. The disagreement became even more intense when IPOB accused Ejiofor of betraying Nnamdi Kanu and mishandling aspects of his legal representation. These are serious accusations. However, it is important to remember that they are allegations made publicly. They have not been established by a court or an independent disciplinary body. And it is, for IPOB. Ejiofor rejects those accusations. According to him, he maintains that he has acted professionally and insists that his legal relationship with those who retain him remains valid, that he's still a representative. And that is why Nigerians are hearing completely different versions of the same events. One side says Ejiofor has no authority whatsoever. The other side says he still serves IPOB, although not Nnamdi Kanu personally. Now, when you put these stories together, one thing becomes clear. This is not simply a legal disagreement. It is also an internal leadership dispute. The legal arguments are tied to a deeper disagreement over who has the authority to make decisions for IPOB itself. And that is why every new statement immediately receives another response. Both sides believe they are defending the legitimate position. In reaction to what is happening, I think people should avoid rushing to conclusions based only on one side statement. This dispute involves competing claims about leadership, authority, and legal representation. Those claims are being challenged by the opposing side. That means observers should distinguish between what has been publicly alleged and what has been independently established. And one thing is clear, however, the disagreement between Nnamdi Kanu and Ifeanyi Ejiofor cannot be understood in isolation. It is closely connected to a wider leadership dispute within IPOB. If you don't have such understanding and that background, the headlines you are seeing might begin to confuse you if you don't understand what is already building. And when you understand the background, it becomes easier to understand why Ejiofor says he still represents IPOB, even though Nnamdi Kanu's camp is insisting that he does not. This story is still developing, and it remains to be seen whether the dispute will eventually be resolved internally or through another formal process. Thank you so much for watching. If you find this analysis helpful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others. I also want to hear your opinion. Do you think this dispute can be resolved within the movement, or do you think it will continue for a long time? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.